Joining me now is Sharren Haskel, a member of the Israeli Parliament, or Knesset. Sharren, so good to see you again. Now, Israel has stepped up its airstrikes. Israel has stepped up its airstrikes on Gaza. This is said to be to make it slightly safer. I mean, it's never going to be safe, but slightly safer for the ground invasion for the Israeli soldiers when that eventually does happen. How risky is this mission, and when do you think it will actually happen? Because it's been, a couple of weeks now. Do you expect the ground incursion will happen this week?
It's very, very difficult to say that, especially on media, because Hamas and its allies are following all of the interviews of Knesset members and ministers in Israel to try and get some assessments of when this will happen. I can tell you that it's coming soon, and it will happen on Israel's terms. It means that we are trying to destroy as much ammunition bunkers as possible before we go in. I mean, we're not blind, and definitely the Israeli army is well trained and well known, and we know that they have prepared some surprise. They knew that we will enter there with forces, and so we are trying to dry up some of their ammunition, and also to really make them exhausted, because they are underground in bunkers, in tunnels. Some of there are, from what I've been told, some are almost 100 meters deep. And so the less food, the less water they will have available in those bunkers, the more likely they will come out. And so this war will be a little bit easier on our troops. So it will happen on Israel's terms when we feel it's safe, not safe, but that we have used all of the options, and that we prepared some of the ground for the entrance.
Look, President Herzog just did an interview with Sky News International, and he says that a Hamas terrorist was carrying instructions on how to build chemical weapons. It was a B drive. Do you have more detail on this? And is this a concern that there might be chemical weapons inside Gaza?
Well, yes. I mean, we understand that their plans were far more reaching than what they were capable of doing. I mean, this invasion was devastating. I mean, this was one of the worst massacres that we've experienced through the entire history of Israel. But their plans were much bigger. From what we've investigated, and we are still investigating, just to say, yesterday, one of the Hamas forces of their elite unit was captured next to one of the towns in the fields close to the border with Gaza. And so they are still being investigated, but the scope of what they plan to do is absolutely massive and devastating, using some chemical weapons. It is already known that they have used drugs as well that are made in Syria, that some of the soldiers in Syria have used as well. So, I mean, yeah, this is another level, and the footprint of Iran is straight on the information that we're receiving.
Well, look, speaking of Iran and then Lebanon, how concerned is the Knesset about a serious conflict, another war opening up on the northern front against Hezbollah?
So, of course, we don't want another war. We don't want another fight. We didn't want this war either. We were forced into this war. And unfortunately, I really hope Hezbollah will not force us into this war. They will lose as well. I mean, if Hezbollah wants to turn Beirut into Gaza, then they should start this war as well. And Australians need to understand, Hezbollah is another proxy of Iran. This is an army of Iran sitting in Lebanon, creating chaos for Lebanese as well, as much as for Israelis. I mean, there have been in a very difficult political, economical situation in recent years because of Hezbollah as well. The massive explosion that we saw in Beirut as well was done because of Hezbollah's equipment as well. That was a devastating event. And so Iran is controlling a full army, a very powerful army in the south of Lebanon too. And so if we need, we will open this front as well. I mean, we will defend our people. We will defend our country. We prefer not to go into a war with Lebanon. But unfortunately, if Iran decide to send Hezbollah through the border again, unfortunately, we will be forced to turn Beirut into Gaza as well.
Wow, a very strong warning there. Sharren Haskel, member of the Israeli Parliament or Knesset, I really appreciate your time once again, and again sending love and all of our prayers to all your people, to Israel.
Thank you so much, Sharri. And thanks for all the support and the prayer for our people. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sharren.